After a long 6 months of no new episodes, we finally got episode 5 of the Amazing Digital Circus. It was filled with many adventures, a new suspicious character overlooking the field, more development towards Ragatha and Jax, Pomney starting to lean more towards Jax than Ragatha, as well as leaving Ragatha behind to become more separated from the group, and more development for all the characters about what they did before they entered the digital circus. Hello my ninjas, welcome back. Today I'll be giving my review on episode 5 of the Amazing Digital Circus, Untitled. I'll be giving my thoughts about the episode and talk a little bit about what the next adventure may hold. I'll also go a little bit about the development between Jax, Ragatha, and Pomney, like the conflict between them three. We can see a lot of separation between one another. Jax trying to get a little more close to Pomney, Ragatha's trying to get her on that side. That video will be out on the 27th. I'll go more in depth about it during then, but I'll dive a little bit in during this episode. Things are starting to get interesting, so let's just stop here and jump right into my review of episode 5 of the Amazing Digital Circus, Untitled. In the latest episode of this series, we went on an adventure by the use of the suggestion box. Something King didn't mind, since he was pleased to see the crew didn't enjoy the last adventure being a worker at a restaurant. Something real life related. This time though, they did a lightning round, where if you did not like the adventure, you can vote to skip it and move on to the next adventure in the many suggestions in that box. You may also add extra stuff if you like to. We see Jax become a vegan. We see Jax also have a maid outfit. We also see a random one where Zubul is a slug, but you know, no. It must be a majority vote, which we will come back to the voting system later because it was very interesting. I enjoyed seeing more adventures than just one, but the only downside is that they're not letting them develop more inside the adventure. However, to be fair, it was a lot more development in Stargazing, the bartending, the softball. The first few were just fillers. Just because they're filler does not mean it was important to the storytelling. The adventures we went on order were as follows. Poachers Paradise. Jax basically shooting each of the digital circus crew. Yes, it was his suggestion. We then have Pomney being president, everyone else is protectors, besides Kinger, who was the assistant for Pomney. And also Pomney wants to give it a sheet direction, because once again, this was Jax's suggestion. We then head over to anime, which was suggested by Gangle, and they skipped it so quickly, like extremely quickly. Stargazing, which is them enjoying a picnic and watching the stars. This one was a lot more laid back and relaxing. Same one with the bartending, which by the way, speaking of, this one was followed up by the bartending, which we learned a ton about each of the digital circus crew and how they got here earlier. This one was suggested by Zubul. And lastly, a good old game of softball, which I believe is Ragatha's suggestion, but I'm not too sure because they never clarified who suggested it. The Big Tops versus the Evil Big Tops, and basically, the Evil Big Tops, they were their alter egos. In total, we saw 6 adventures, and each of them had storytelling to offer towards each character, or maybe conflicts between one another. Now, we shall go one by one and talk about what I liked about it, and a little bit about the development between each section. We begin with Poachers Paradise, suggested by Jax. Jax, as the usual jerk, wanted each of the crew members to be an animal that Jax poaches, Zubul being a flamingo, and Gangle being the red ribbon rhino. Jax killing Gangle, eating the ribbon, yes, eating it. Then immediately Zubul goes in and votes to skip. It also adds that Jax for the rest of the adventure is vegan. Everyone votes yes, and Pomney votes yes. We're going to come back to that. And we're off to the next adventure. This one didn't really have too much to talk about since it was real quick, but the vegan Jax was something I enjoyed seeing. Jax finally gets the bully treatment back, which is what he deserved for being a bully towards everyone else. The next adventure is Pomy As President, which once again is suggested by Jax. Everyone is assigned a role and has a sheet that explains what they are. Kinger, the assistant. Zubul and Ragatha being the guards. Jax is still the poacher with a bomb. Yeah, I don't know either. And Gangle being the New Zealand bomb again? Yeah, so in this one specifically, they were arguing about, like, New Zealand and Australia. I don't know if that's supposed to tie up with the Poachers Paradise, or it's just something completely, like, irrelevant towards it. Pomney was also not given a sheet, so she had no idea what to do, because once again, Jax specified that she would not be provided a sheet, and what the hell to do, and what the hell is going on. This one really didn't have any storytelling besides Jax being a real big jerk and a bully again. It was cool to see Pomney as a president, and having more authority towards the others. And we did see some cool Easter eggs in the background, like Gummigoo in a dress, and some pictures of the digital circus. Kane and Zubul were watching through TV, and yeah, that pretty much sums up the first 2 adventures. Let's go to the third one. I wonder what happens first. I finish up the script part for the anime, or the anime ends. Let's see. Third adventure was suggested by Gangle. Yes, anime, yes, but, you know, she draws anime stuff, you know, you guys understand. School roleplay. I mean, there's nothing else to really say about it. It's a school roleplay. And Kinger is the teacher, and they learn about English. Yeah, I don't know either. This one had some cool Gaslight District concept art in the background, which was awesome to see. Because, you know, while this did take a couple months to come out, and also they work with Gaslight District, I love seeing that. And once again, Jax brought up the figurine thing, which is something we've heard before, but we still have no context what it's about. And then before Jax continued, Gangle quickly said, just skip it, because we still don't know what the hell the figurine thing's about. Let's move on to number 4. Adventures 4, 5, and 6 have a lot more storytelling, rather than just like the filler for the previous 3 and just setting up for later. We begin with Stargazing, suggested by, well, we really don't know this one. Stargazing is where they have a picnic at night and they watch the stars. Here's the thing though, they were separated by 2 groups. Group 1 was by the picnic, Gangle, Zooble, and Kinger. And on the other side, watching the stars and just, you know, laying down relaxing, was Jax, Pomney, and Ragatha. Though Ragatha was going back and forth, but, you know. Over by the picnic, we saw Kinger eating a
sandwich.
Zooble offering a
sandwich.
to Gangle, which was a nice thing Zooble did. These 2 characters already had a development episode. That's why they were basically shoved to the left side by the picnic, and they didn't really have that much interaction between the other 3 that had way more in the episode. The manor was Kinger and Zooble's development episode, and the restaurant worker, which was the previous episode, Fast Food Masquerade, was Gangle's. So we didn't need more development from one another. And plus, if you wanted more from those 3, you get them in the bartending, so it's no big deal. In this one, we focus more on Ragatha, Pomney, and Jax. We start to see a conflict between one another, like a triangle. Like Pomney's at the top of the triangle, while Ragatha and Jax are trying to get Pomney more close to their side of the triangle. We start to notice here that Jax is getting much more closer to Pomney, like I said before. Talking about how Gangle may actually be able to be happy, but she just doesn't try hard enough to only then have Ragatha come in and talk smack to Jax. Like I said in the beginning, I'm going to go more in depth about this in next week's video, but it seems like Jax has much more he wants to say towards the others. He acts like a jerk because that makes him pleased, and Ragatha is finally standing up to it. But maybe all of this is just get Pomney on their side. Like, a divide is starting to happen between the group. Ragatha just tries to be nice and make sure everyone is happy. But in the episode, we see her a lot more aggressive, passive-aggressive turn. Pomney starts to be more on Jax's side slowly as the episode progresses. Also, Jax had a tail the entire time, apparently, since he's technically a bunny, but you never knew that. You never knew that he had a tail, which provides more background towards his character, I guess. And then Kane, Bubble, and the Moon had an interaction, and we head to another intermission. So yeah, that sums up the Stargazing. Pretty fascinating stories being told from one another, and very interesting between that divide and the conflict we're starting to see between Jax, Pomney, and Ragatha. Let's head to the intermission. The intermission was just silly all around. The box being the best part. It was like Kane making them torture himself for his enjoyment. Do you see the positions they do in the box? Pomney, what are you trying to do there? Trying to hypnotize us? Like, what the hell? At the end of the mission, we also see Jax running through some doors. Last one being a crossed out frog. Now, I may be wrong, but I believe the original concept design for Pomney was a frog, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Just correct me in the comments if I am wrong or right. I really enjoy the animation art style they used here. It felt like a cartoon show intro, like Teen Titans Go. It felt very similar to that. I love the coloring effects they did with it as well, like the 3D, 2D designing, you know, Kinger with the chess pieces as well, Zooble seeing King go insane. All of it was awesome to see, and you can tell how much effort they put into making this episode the best it could have possibly been. And the bowling balls too, I mean, come on, all of it was perfection. It felt like a glowing effect, you know, I felt like they had the glowing effect added too as well. Oh, just amazing. We're nearly done here, so let's head to the final 2 adventures, and it's a big one. We begin with the bartending. Zooble was the one who suggested this. In this adventure, it is more laid back as they have a conversation about what they used to do before they entered this digital world. Can't forget about Jax going insane, once again. To begin, Zooble mentions that she is a bartender who used to make drinks before she entered this digital world, and also was a tattoo artist. Pomney being an accountant for a supermarket chain, also age 25, but no one else mentions their age, and dabbling into being a YouTuber. Jax, once again, doesn't tell anything about his past and referencing a show in the name of Breaking Bad. Gangle, who used to go to community college for graphic design, and then sadly dropped out and lost her passion in art. Nothing else really to say there. Lastly is Ragatha. Ragatha was born into a wealthy family, large property of horses and chicken, which, by the way, I called it in her development episode. I'll talk about that video a little bit about next week, but I'm going to have a separate video on it in weeks to come. So just wait till the end of the video. I'll explain about all that, okay? Don't worry. But for now, I cooked with this, chat. Alright? I cooked. Alright, everyone? Ragatha also mentioned that she also tried out real estate for a bit and then ended up in this digital world. I should also mention that her mother wasn't really nice to her, making Ragatha feel bad and guilt trip her. This adventure talked a lot about how each character got here and what they did prior. We know Pomney is 25 in the real world, but unknown about the West. Ah, yes, Kinger! Yeah, he couldn't remember anything. Also, apparently Jax is afraid of corn? It's pretty funny, but I don't know if this is going to relate towards Jax's development for the next episode, because remember, this episode, next episode, Ragatha and Jax will share the spotlight between both episodes and gain a lot more development between one another. Zubul uses that as an advantage and gets him more mad, and this was definitely my favorite adventure in this episode. I love jazz music and the vibes of the black and white, dark, mysterious, like the disappearing guy. Jazz music, love it! Let's head over to the final adventure. The final adventure was a good old game of softball, which was teased in the previous episode, Fast Food Masquerade in the beginning, when Ragatha was teaching Gangle how to throw a softball. Kane was the announcer, and also mentioning that in the back of that was where the exit was. That's how you leave the digital world. Just want to note that. He also created the evil Big Tops, who they had the team to play against. It's basically the alter ego of himself. Each of them are basically evil, besides Gangle, who didn't get one and is replaced by evil Orbsman. Zubul is Gazubal, basically the more dumber person of Zubul. Evil Jax being a much more nicer, shyer Jax. Kinger being a leader and a commander, and then evil Ragatha being a witch. Which, when they lost, she melted. Yep, she melted. They throw a couple bats, and Zubul whispers over to Gangle to call for a vote to have Jax be in a maid costume. Everyone's vote yes, besides one person. Pomney. Which is fascinating because earlier Pomney voted yes to Jax being a vegan. It seems like Pomney is starting to like Jax now and feel much more close to him than any other character Pomney has ever interacted with. This also shows that Jax may go insane later on down the line if he doesn't change his attitude towards the crew. It also makes me wonder if he was born to a family that was always rude to him and would bully him and make fun of him and such, making him a bully and a jerk since no one ever talked back to him and stood up against him. Ragatha also stood up against him multiple times in the episode. The rest of the game happens and a centipede ate the ball. Yeah, I'm not sure how that made sense, but you know, it is Kane's world, so sure, why not, I guess, right? I like the billboards, Cough Mo Tire, Gummy Goo Drink, and even Spudsies was there too. The Big Tops win, we see evil Ragatha dissolve and head back to the circus. Before the end of the episode though, Jax brings Pomney to the hall that he mentioned earlier to talk about what they were going to talk about earlier. And Zubul, Kinger, and Gangle, they head the other way, while Jax and Pomney go to the way that Jax is going to show them. But we see Ragatha at the end contemplate which side they want to go on. Like a moment of doubt. Like she's in a bad spot. She's in a basic pickle. We don't know where she's going to go. The next episode gives us a lot about the two, and potentially others as well. It's intriguing because throughout the first few episodes, from pilot to episode 4, Ragatha was real close to Pomney. Pomney went to Ragatha multiple times over. But Ragatha was just nice and all. Didn't really talk too much about Pomney, about her interactions and such. And all of a sudden now, Jax comes in here, swoops on by, moves Ragatha to the side, and now has Pomney way more closer to him than Ragatha. So next episode, I wonder how this triangle, like I mentioned before, is gonna dissolve into maybe even madness, maybe even chaos. I enjoyed how we got to see more adventures than just one, giving us a unique spotlight to see what they felt on each person's suggestions. Some being mean, some more laid back, some more Jax being personal, and starting to be Pomney lean more towards Jax now instead of Ragatha. The intermissions were funny, and the art style was all great. Overall, this episode was fantastic. We got to see many adventures across one episode than just one singular adventure, giving us more ways to develop the characters one by one, from the bartending jazzy mood, learning about the jobs they did before entering this digital world, to the conflict between Jax, Pomney, and Ragatha trying to make Pomney side with one another, and the struggle Pomney has of trying to fit in and make everyone happy. And also seeing Kane try to regain control of the area. It was a blast to see this episode and be refreshed into the amazing digital circus. Overall, I give this episode a 9 out of 10. Yes, a 9 out of 10. Why not a 10? Well, to be honest, the anime part felt unnecessary. Like we already knew about the figurine thing from episode 2, and it didn't help give more storytell towards Gangle, Ragatha, and Jax. And the drama that Jax knew about it. We still don't know what the hell this figurine thing's about. Alright, we barely got touched into it. They barely also mentioned it in Fantastical Masquerade as well. I just don't understand, alright? Hopefully they mention about it in the next episode. And it was a mere 30 seconds though, so it was not all that bad. If you enjoyed it, please, if you enjoyed that section, please, don't make me change your mind. Great episode. I can't wait for the next installment in the amazing digital circus. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Yes, I know it's a late start to the once-a-week summer video grinding, but we started to heat up now, alright? Next week's video, I'm going more in depth about the conflict between Jax, Ragatha, and Pomney. Like I mentioned many times, the triangle. How Ragatha and Jax is trying to get Pomney on their side. That'll take a full video, because I have a lot to say about it. So I'll have a third video that'll just cover Ragatha and her development episode. And the following episode, episode 6, as well as talking about what I got right and what I got wrong. So that'll be on the 4th of July. Yes, the 4th of July. I'll once again have the TMG convention vlog videos like last year. This time I'm going for all 3 days. So I'm gonna be busy from the 30th of July to the 4th with the Ragatha video having, family over and such, trying to get 4 videos out. So you may need to wait a bit before you get the TMG vlogs out. More than likely, I'll have them out on July the 7th, which is a Monday, July 9th, which is a Wednesday, and July 11th on a Friday, since I'll be out with friends, and be busy all week with that. So I'll basically have a month to hopefully try to get an indie game done, review it and do the script writing for it, etc. Hopefully I'll get all that done soon. So that's the schedule of the upcoming month ahead of now. From now till the July of 18th. I'll be busy a lot of it, but I will try my best to push a video out once a week. Before I conclude, yes, I know, 3 digital circus videos in a row. Listen, alright, there's a lot to talk about in this episode, and it makes sense to space them out in different videos, one by one, to cover one specific thing. Plus, if I need a filler in between, I always have the TMG vlogs I can do. Now, let's conclude here. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this video with friends, subscribe to me, enjoy my videos, hit that little bell so you can know if when I upload. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you all next week for the conflict between Jax, Ragatha, and Pomy. This is Ninja signing out. Peace!